Before we begin, thank you very much to Mikuru Ikusaba, the 16th student lying hidden somewhere in this school, the one they call the Ultimate Despair. Watch out for joining the Patreon campaign. Yes, it just ends at the F because they hit the limit on Patreon. Which, by the way, if you're a $15 and up patron, these are funny. Actually, if you're any level patron, these are funny. Shorten them after you sign up, because Patreon's terrible at showing you an organized list of your contributors. So if people have super long names, I can't see all of the grid. But thank you very much for the very Danganronpa shout out. Weird one, but we will take it. So, let's see what we're doing. So, I have been putting this off for a while. So, the whole reason I stopped doing a lot of Toku content on this channel is frankly because I didn't have time to watch the shows anymore. And guess what? That really hasn't changed. I'm making a very bold effort here to actually keep up with these shows. Unfortunately, it's not working out. So, this is a very late review of episode 8 and 9 of Kamen Rider Zeztz, but I have to do it today because 2 more episodes will be available to review after this, and that will not come tomorrow. We'll wait, we'll give this a little bit of breathing room, so I'm not just dumping Zeztz reviews on everybody, but after that, we'll probably go back into doing this every couple weeks. So, let's see what we're doing today. Today, we are targeting a biological weapon. Now, on paper, that's a little extreme for a Kamen Rider, but we'll go with it. Also, this leads into chef montage. Toei has a lot of really good B-roll of just food being made. I guess when there's so many animes that get a lot of acclaim for the animation quality of their cooking segments, I guess Kamen Rider has to keep pace with that. That seems only fair, I guess. But yes, Baku today is a sous chef at a very luxurious restaurant underneath a 5-star chef. And it's shown a very stern work environment, which a lot of restaurants are, especially a lot of restaurants headed by some older chef who is very, very set in their ways and very, very strict about their teachings. And then one of them falls over dying. You know, like you do. So after trying some of the food, one of the sous chefs drops to the floor. Now we know our biological weapon. It's something in the room. Though they are good about showing, we don't know the exact cause of it yet. Writing-wise, it's very obvious. But they do try, because they start doing a lot of, jump cuts to, a wet towel, other ingredients, or to the food, the air conditioning vents, the tools, the implements, the silverware. This could have been on anything or come from anywhere. We'll get to that in a minute. This is a big deal because the restaurant is due to cater food to a international event where some dignitaries will be meeting, and this could cause some very, very bad relationships to break down if people happen to get poisoned while they're visiting. The problem is they are insisting that this specific restaurant is going to provide the food, so everything is going forward. Even though someone nearly dropped dead from being poisoned by the food, supposedly, they're still going forward with this because someone from another country said this food and nothing else. If I found out that I'm going to go on a big event that I'm a politician, but I'm going to another country, I'm going to meet with their dignitaries, and we're going, and I find out that the restaurant they were going to show off, if I found out someone just dropped dead after they ate the food, I would go, McDonald's? I'm not picky now. That's just me. So, This is the fun part where we get to do real world investigation in Zeztz now. Zero somehow has apparently acquired entry into said restaurant and apparently covered the cost of lunch there. Again, 5-star chef. This ain't cheap. This is like hundreds of dollars a plate to eat at a place like this, that type of place. I am really starting to wonder about Zero's connections in the real world and exactly how he has all the money to do what he does. This is not cheap, nor is this something you could easily just pull. I can't go on eBay and get a guaranteed seat at a top restaurant in town. It's not how it works. I don't know how Zero's done this. I get the feeling as we figure out his mysteries, we will come to discover it. Zero also gives him the newest gadget, which is basically a hand scanner. It looks like a Dragon Ball Z Scouter, but without the headpiece. And this is for examining things for biological agents and just things that the normal eye cannot detect. So Baku is actually very astute about this. He is actually being very diligent in his investigation. He's looking at air vents. He's looking around he's being very obnoxious with it. Like literally he goes with his sister to this restaurant and he's just facing her food, scanning it. It's just a little bit weird. But also this is another case of the sister having weird stuff that her brother's doing with weird tech happening right in front of her, and we still apparently don't question it. I thought after the last episode where it's they're meeting with someone who says they saw Baku in their dreams and was expecting them, and then revealing this enormous secret that no one else in the country knows. There's a huge secret, this whole conspiracy behind Nem and keeping her disappearance under wraps. I kind of figured there'd be questions asked at this point, and that there wouldn't be any way we couldn't put the sister in the loop. She's in the opening where everyone jumps into the giant, where everyone looks giant in the the building setting. So again, I feel like she's going to be in the loop eventually. They can't keep this running gag up forever. The point is, he's found a contaminant. It's in the sauce. They make a big deal out of something called royal sauce, and it's this deep green sauce that they pour on everything. And you know what? I love green. I have an unhealthy obsession with the color green. If you've seen my other projects, you might have noticed. I've said it on this channel before. My biggest regret is making my branding red and black when my favorite color is green. What did I do? My logo wouldn't be mistaken for the Maximal symbol all the time if it was green. But point is, right from the first scene inside the restaurant, they were making a huge deal out of this royal sauce. Because it's the signature of the chef and the restaurant, and it's just supposed to be it's MSG. It's liquid MSG. It just makes everything you put on it taste better. But that makes it very, very obvious right from the start where the poison is. Of course, it's in the green sauce. Now, as the investigation unfolds, we find out that this head chef was actually scheduled for surgery. At one point, he goes down, and it looks like he fell victim to the poison too. No, this was his own medical conditions acting up. He's due for surgery the day the dignitaries are in, so he was never planning to cook for them in the first place. But this is where we find out, and this is kind of typical storytelling. This is where the plot of these episodes doesn't really grab me in any way, because this does feel a little bit typical of this kind of story, where the elder chef is being hard on his sous chefs because he really does care about them a lot, and he wants them to carry on the traditions of the restaurant and the flavors. And that's well and good, except, they insist on cooking when you have foreign dignitaries coming in, speaking the most random lines in English, The words he says, like the English that he spouts, just to show, hey, from another country, is just a lot of random greetings and gratitudes. Like he like speed ran like everything he should have been saying on like the car ride over to the restaurant or wherever the meetup was. I lost track of that. So yeah, the sous chefs are insistent on doing it, on actually completing this task, meaning we now have a ticking time bomb situation. We can't take our time on this one. This is something that has to be resolved before they get too far into their lunch. And this is where we start talking about the action portion of the episodes. We have a very viral, toxic looking nightmare this time. I really like this design. Like, this is almost opposed from the previous nightmare we discussed, where it looked like the longer it went on, like during the wedding episodes, like the longer I stared at that nightmare, the cheaper it looked and the less I liked it. This just seems to have more going on the more I look at it. You know, you can see where like things are laid out like organs, and you know you can actually get some like biological contaminant look to it. You know, like these little things coming off the shoulders that kind of look like viral strands. It's a neat design. It's a very complex design. There's a lot going on. It's busy, but I don't mind it. It looks appropriate for what it is. Fortunately, to combat something that is toxic and corrosive, we just so happen to get a brand new capsule named Recovery, which can heal and restore things other than the person using it, which is kind of BS. It's just kind of, what good is the healer in the party if the healer can't keep themselves, from dying? That doesn't. That's your D&D campaign falling apart is what that is. And we see this at one time, because Baku falls victim to this during a fight in order to protect Nem. He gets poisoned. And then to resolve this, Nem has to actually take the capsule herself, load it into the gun, and shoot healing into him. She shot him with health. It worked. He got stuck in the hospital and had to sneak his way out like Spider-Man, but you know what? It worked. Yeah, but this is where we get to talk about his new recovery form. Once again, I came up with Astral Agent Magnetar years ago and debuted it 6 months before the series. Yeah, so now we have a two-tone green form. Yeah. See, when we saw previews and we saw the little glimpses of it, and go, oh, great, there's a two-tone green and black form. There's one of my favorite color schemes of all time, just like thrown right in my face. So I want this form to be cool. When I found out it was the recovery form, a little bit nervous just because it just didn't seem cool. Like, it's white mage. Like, well, how good is a white mage going to be in a direct fight? Pretty good. Pretty good. So aside from, yes, he does have healing abilities. He can restore the people in the dreams. And apparently this can restore people in real life too, because when he was cured, it cured him in the real world as well. But it can also restore things that have been damaged, like his axe. I can't remember the last time I watched a Kamen Rider series where like his main weapon was broken by the monster of the week, just outright smashed. But here, it's done intentionally to show that his powers can reverse it. He can actually restore the damage, which is actually kind of neat. Oh, and also, it's a way more powerful form than I thought. It's actually a really powerful form. The fight does not have any kind, like, not too much, like, dream shenanigans outside of, like, a little bit of, like, pulling up the ground to attack with. What's cool about the fight is it's outside, so it's very bright. You can see it very clearly what's going on, which is very much appreciated after a few episodes kept everything very heavily shadowed. But the cool thing in this fight is you're dealing with a corrosive, toxic monster that decays things versus a Kamen Rider that is designed specifically to heal and repair and restore. And it is very typical of a lot of these shows to introduce the power they just happen to need right then and there for the brand new monster of the week. You know, this is very, very like apparent in Kamen Rider Forze, where they introduce the net switch. And the net switch that is taken by the teacher and like suddenly a lot of importance is put on. Like the teacher needs to trust Gentaro so he can get that switch back. And then the monster of the week is a monster that can turn into a swarm of bees. Gee, I wonder what switch will be used to beat this monster that can turn into a swarm of bees. It's things like that, like okay, this is a very, very convenient thing. Fortunately, greater story implications. Knox has been spying on Zeztz during his fights. And this is apparently a moment he has been waiting for. He's been waiting for this so much, he pulls out his own giant toy sword. His own giant toy sword, which very clearly has some kind of damage over what is obviously a slot for a capsum to fit in. So yeah, this very obvious toy that he suddenly pulls out. Oh yeah, he's not going to be a Kamen Rider at some point in this series. For the first time, he goes on the direct attack for Zeztz and literally just like knocks him down and rips the capsum out of him. And I'm just kind of screaming like, why hasn't anyone tried this before? Just knock double down and take one of his Gaia memories out. Like, why didn't anyone think of this before? This worked really well. Like, he really could have just like cut Baku's head off right there. Like, there's nothing stopping it. But no, apparently he's been researching this. Apparently he has been researching this because we see a tome that he has been reading from in the real world. And it has the 4 main forms depicted on it with these weird sigils and shapes. And we haven't gotten to Wonder yet, which is the purple on the right. But he has been waiting for Zeztz to show off healing. And remember, this is the one who has the comatose Nem. So, yeah, it's very obvious what he wants to use it for. I feel like if he just told Baku, hey, I'm the one who has Nem's body. I need that capsum in order to restore her. Okay, I'm pretty sure Baku would just go, bet, I'll help you. We don't have to go through all this. But no, apparently this also sets up an extra layer of the mystery, is like, why are all of Zetz's powers in this book? Why does this book specifically know the 4 main abilities of the capsums that can transform him into different forms? Now I'm really curious. So now there's a real world element to this storyline, and some kind of mysticism. I like when mysticism comes in with Kamen Riders. And then there's the side plot. There's a side plot that is happening with our detectives. So, Fujimi, and I'm going to try very hard to use the names that they use all the time in the show, rather than going with the first names. Our detective, Fujimi, he actually gets, like, really pushy about the black case in this one. Like, over the top, so. Like, Nagumo has to, like, drop kick him out of, like, his frenzy at one point, kind of into it. And we start to find out why he is so fascinated by black cases. Because apparently he had a protege in the paranormal agency. However, a year ago, they quit, and no one has seen them since. Even their family has no idea where they've been. They have no contact with anyone whatsoever. So it is setting up this event where he's obsessed with black cases because he wants to find out what happened to his protege. And I really wish this hadn't been set up the way it did. I wish I could say I didn't see this coming from a mile away, and it's a great shocker, and it's a great twist. But no, the second they said 1 year ago, that immediately clicked in my brain of like, that's not the first time frame we've heard. I actually went back to episode 7 to see if they had mentioned a time frame of how long Nem's body has been missing. No, all they said was the accident was 4 years ago. Well, 1 year happens within 4 years. So, yeah, I get really suspicious and I think to myself, if that is Knox, yeah, that would actually really make sense. You know, like, okay, so if he was connected to black cases before, that might actually be how he started to gain access and awareness of the dreams. We do learn the name. Odaka Kensei, or Kensei Odaka, depending on where you are. And we see the face. It's Knox. I wish they'd pulled that out a little bit longer, and I wish they had actually, like, tried harder to, like, obfuscate that, because it really was very obvious who the protege was going to turn out to be. But it also lends itself to the idea of, hey, Knox probably isn't going to be an antagonist the entire series, which means there's going to be a really, really good story thread going here when he actually encounters the detectives for the first time again. It changes his motivation somewhat. Like now, why is he working alongside nightmares now if he used to be a detective that was going after these cases? It's a good twist story-wise. I just wish I didn't see it coming so easily. Other little bits from the episodes that were kind of fun. So Nem has actually officially met Zero, and now she is part of the Dreamscape version of The Office. And it's funny that she can also speak and understand, some English in the Dreamscape. Not as much as Baku does. She admits that, like, when Zero starts explaining things, she only catches some of it, but it's enough. Also, weirdly enough, like, they make sure to focus in on her earrings, which I assume is just because they're a butterfly shape, but it also makes me wonder if there is, like, maybe some added significance to those. This is where I start getting super weird about like where my story thread and ideas are going. Like, there's almost this part of me that wonders if Knox and Nem were an item at some point before her accident, and the whole reason he joined paranormal investigation was to try and find out what happened to her, and if there is some way that he could investigate the accident, why she's still in a coma, especially if he believed there was something paranormal, supernatural about it. And then when he started gaining, like, awareness of the nightmares and finding ways that maybe Nem could be restored, that's when he takes the body. That's when he just, like, takes off with her. Or it might be, or if he was kept in the dark about that, in that scenario, he would have done it as soon as he found out where she was. Which, working with a detective agency could reveal things like that. I don't know how on the ball I'm going to be there. Probably not, but I'm super curious what their connection is, because it seems like it's a little bit more involved than just we're both dream people. Also, this was a fun bit I noticed. When they started investigating at the restaurant in the dream world, Nem shows up in full, like, paramedic regalia, because she just got back from taking, like, the dream version of the sous chef to the hospital. But she walks out of frame, and then the next cut is to the chair she's going to sit in, where she is now back in the gardener outfit that she started the episode in. So that's not just something Baku can do. I love the little reminders like that this is a dreamscape, and things like that are very fluid and can change at a moment's notice. And to know that she has that level of control as well is actually really fascinating. Like, okay, she's not just in a coma. She does have the same, like, dream ability as Knox and Baku. It's good to show the extent, and I liked that. Also, just one final note. Is this shot of this food weird to you? It's like the last shot of the food and the sauce we get in the episode. Does this look weird? Is it just because it's against a green background that my brain is thinking that it's green screened on or something? Like there's something weirdly like uncanny about it, like it's AI or just like rushed Photoshop. Someone at Toei said oh wait, we forgot to get that one last shot. Just Photoshop this plate with the stuff on top. Or it's probably fine. It probably just looks weird at the angle with the green behind it, but it made me laugh. Because just for a second, it was like, oh, that's a little off. I don't know why, but it's a little off. And that's going to be the review. That is 8 and 9. Like I said, the main story of the episodes with the restaurant and the chefs, I honestly wasn't all that into, just because it was a kind of predictable, very typical, like elder chef and his students kind of story that I have seen a lot. In tokusatsu even, I've seen these stories. So it's not the most compelling of stories. I like the nightmare this time. I think the design was cool. It's a little bit weird that the poison works in the real world as long as it exists in the nightmare, in the dream world. To the point where, like, they started to be poisoned, and then when the monster was destroyed, they were like, oh, no, we're fine now. This is good. This is real good. So that was a little bit weird. So I wasn't too much into the episode. The mysteries and the twists, that I was into. And yeah, I really like the new form. So we will see. We'll see what Knox does with the capsum. Of course, if you're watching it live, you've already seen it. Me, now I get to go watch it now that the second episode is up. As I said, we'll tackle that sometime next week. It won't be tomorrow. But for now, this has been another Zeztz. Why do you say Zeztz? It's another Zeztz pair of episodes. So thank you very much for watching. I will see you next time.
Hello everyone, I am Astral Agent Magnetar, a Tokusatsu VTuber, and I am streaming 4 times a week over on Twitch, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoons, and a special late night one on late Friday/early Saturday. So come watch, come hang out, and let's make an impact together.